Hey loves, this is SR Welcome to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Enjoy. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am back with another video. In this video, I will talk about my all-time favorite romance novels. The novels that changed my life, the novels that inspired me to write. I'm gonna jump right into it because I have 10 that I put together for you. I have so many, but I had to break the list down and make it so it can be shorter. So I'm gonna read the name of the novels followed by a description that I get from off of Amazon. And then if you guys want me to review all of these novels, let me know and I will give you guys a review of all of them. Okay, number 1, Pleasure by Eric Jerome Dickey. I remember coming across this book. I don't even remember where. You know those book club, those subscriptions that you used to get back in the day. I can't remember the name of it. I think I had one of those subscriptions, and this particular book was on a list of the books that I could get, and I got it. I checked it out. Also, fun fact, I guess you could say the twin thing that happens in the book Pleasure inspired my idea to write my first series about twins. The storyline is definitely different or whatever. There are some similarities, like Nia Simone Bijou being from Atlanta. Yara is also from Atlanta, and I will say that definitely was inspired by this book. But everything else was, of course, made up. But the twin thing, and also the place where my book doesn't take place in Atlanta, but the main character is from Atlanta. So yeah, that is what we have in common with Eric Jerome Dickey. I don't feel like it's a bad thing to be inspired by books that you've read. Like, what else are you going to be inspired by? Of course, life experiences, your imagination, but I don't think there's nothing wrong with being inspired by books that you've read, just as long as you don't copy the whole storyline, the context, the idea and stuff like that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. Like, nothing is original. No one human has done something first. Well, there's always a first person, but a lot of times the first person doesn't really get credit. It's just about how different we do things. And I hope that this doesn't act up all day, but I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. So, Pleasure by Eric Jerome Dickey. Born in Trinidad and living in Atlanta after a relationship gone bad, Nia Simone Bijou is an ambitious writer who has it all, except for the one thing that'll give her the control she craves and the power she deserves: absolute, uninhibited sexual satisfaction. Now, in the sweltering days and nights of summer, the heat is on. Nia's fantasies will become a reality with a man after man after man. She will shatter the limits of erotic love. She will open herself up to experiences she never dared before. And as her fantasies begin to spin out of control, she'll discover the unexpected price of the extreme. And that book is no short of that. Like, it definitely is erotic, and Miss Nia Simone Bijou has her a good old time with those experiences with those twins. And if y'all haven't seen the book, I'm sorry for ruining it. I think, was it a secret that they were twins? I don't think it was the same as how mine is set up. I think she knew about them. Something. It was something that they were hiding from her, but I can't remember. But yeah, it's been a while since I've read this. But yeah, that is a description of Pleasure by Eric Jerome Dickey. Number 2, Adultery by Paulo Coelho. Adultery, the provocative new novel by Paulo Coelho, best-selling author of The Alchemist and 11 Minutes, explores the question of what it means to live life fully and happily, finding the balance between life's routine and the desire for something new. And I came across this book when I had came across The Alchemist, which is a very popular book by Paulo Coelho. Like, it's very popular. I don't really know a whole lot of people that don't know about it, and it's a book about everything and nothing at the same time. But this video is not about that. I'll review that book at a later time. But I came across it when I found that book, and then I started doing research on the author. And this book pretty much gives you some type of idea of kind of what married folks go through when they start to get bored with life or whatever, and pushing themselves to that limit to make their sex life better by cheating, I guess. But you do learn, there are always lessons in his books. I will say that you do learn something from it. So book number 3 is Shame on It All by Zane. In Shame on It All, Harmony, Bryce, and Lucinda, aka Lucky, Whitfield, are sisters in every sense of the word. They argue and get on each other's nerves, but when it comes down to the wire, they are extremely protective of one another. Shame on It All follows their adventures, their friendships, their love lives, and their outlooks on life in today's society. Jam-packed with unpredictable, unbelievable, and just downright crazy situations with a few surprising twists thrown in for good measure. Shame on It All is as wild as they come. And when she says that it is wild, she is not lying. Like, this was the first romance novel that I came across, I think by Zane. I don't remember ever reading a romance novel before this. I think this is my first one. And this was the story, and I was young. I was like in junior high school when I think it was junior high, because that's when I started writing romance novels. Let me just take this off because it's getting on my nerve. That's when I started writing not romance novels, short stories, inspired by this book. Like, it really opened my eyes to things, and of course it opened my eyes because I was young and had no business reading it or whatever. But I will say this, my mama wasn't the type of parent that kind of like kept sex stuff for me, so she didn't have a problem with me reading books about sex and stuff like that, because she felt like if she allowed me to have these experiences and like know, then that would kind of take out my curiosity. It didn't take away my curiosity, but it definitely I wasn't in a rush to have sex, for that reason. But yeah, this story is the book that changed my life, the book that made me want to write. I was always writing, but I wasn't writing stories. I was writing poems and songs and stuff like that. Like, when I remember as early as 6 years old, me writing a poem, and it was about sex. It was very short. A very short poem, maybe like 2 or 3 lines. And like, I almost got in trouble for it. I feel like I've said this before on here. I almost got in trouble for it, but I had this amazing friend who will always be my friend, and I will never turn my back on, who took the blame for it. She got in trouble. And I felt bad after the fact. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that junk followed me throughout my whole life. I kept thinking about it, like, dang, I really got somebody in trouble for something I did. Like, that's messed up. I'm such a bad person. Like, I really was feeling guilty about it. But girl, if you are watching this, I am always and forever going to be thankful for you. You know who you are. And if you need something, call me. And if I can do it, I got you, for having my back like that. But anyways, like, I really love this novel, and I definitely feel like you should read it. You absolutely should. Everybody should read it at some point. But moving on to the next one. Book number 4 is Skyscrapers by Zane. It's also another Zane novel. Also one of those novels that like had me, I was shook. I was a kid when I was reading these books. I was shook. I was intrigued. I liked it. I liked the way, like, Zane really inspired me to be a writer because she just was so, like, raw, authentic, unadulterated, and, like, even though I couldn't really put that into words back then when I came across her books, I appreciated it. Like, I really appreciated it. And, you know, it changed my life forever. So the best-selling author of Getting Book Wow and the sister of APF gives new meaning to the term office party in this exhilarating and boldly erotic novel about the passion of business and the business of passion. Most corporations hand out bonus checks or gift certificates for Christmas, but Wolf Industries hand out drama. Skyscraper chronicles the week before the annual Christmas party at Wolf Industries, an African-American owned automobile manufacturer. The week leading up to the Wolf Industries annual Christmas party is unforgettable as the lives of 4 people who have barely interacted with one another in the past begin to cross paths in the most disturbing ways. Affairs, a secret penthouse, and revenge fill the pages, and everyone is on the edge of exploding from the tension. By the time the party is over, they will be lucky if the skyscraper is still standing. And drama is not the word to express what you will get in this book. Like, it is full of drama and, like, sex, and, like, there's this particular character in the book, I can't remember exactly their name, but I think they were working as, like, a male, I don't know what you call it, like a mail carrier in, like, the office or whatever. And I was proud of old boy because he handled himself when it was time to handle himself. You know what I mean? Like, I was proud of him. Like, I'm not going, excuse me. I think that I'm going to do a review of all of these books, you know, do like separate videos of each one, because I have to talk about that one. I have to talk about my thoughts about that. And matter of fact, I am going to purchase this and read it again because it was so good. I actually had not all of her books, but a couple of Zane books, because like I said, it was a part of this like book club or whatever, this subscription service that you could get. You get a book, I think you get a book every month or something like that. And I had a collection and I let somebody borrow it and I never saw it again. And like, I never let anybody borrow a book of mine again, because y'all already know how it is. When people borrow books, they never give them back. You never see them again. And I kind of knew that I wouldn't, but I was cool with it. Definitely I'm going to purchase it again and read it again so I can give y'all a good review. So let's move on to the next one. So book 5 is Drive Me Crazy by Eric Jerome Dickey. Another one from Eric Jerome Dickey. Eric Jerome Dickey and Zane were like my idols. Also Keisha Irvin as well. Like, when I was a teenager, I loved reading their novels and short stories and stuff like that, because he has a lot of short stories that I've read as well. And like, both of them definitely shaped me as a writer. I will say that. If you ever see any like similarities in my writing of them, it's not plagiarism or me copying anybody, but I definitely was inspired. And I kind of feel like I ain't gonna say a lot of writers don't say that, but I will say a lot of readers assume that writers have plagiarized or copied something, or this story sounds similar to this. And I'm not saying that some of them don't, but I think most of the time it's just that, you know, they were inspired by that person. And of course you're going to read so many of the same books. Like I said earlier, like, no one person has one idea. No one person is the originator of an idea. Like, yeah, there may be a person who thought of it first, but there's always going to be other people who come up with the same thing. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be because they were inspired by that first person. It could just be because we all had the same idea, and we can all have the same idea, and we can all write stories that seem the same. Like, I kind of feel like in our community, in the Black community, we give each other such a hard time when it comes to things like that. Oh, this was already done, such and such done this, or you copy such and such. And it's like, that's not always the case. Like, nobody is always copying. Like I said, I'm not saying that there aren't people that do that, because there are. But sometimes we just have the same idea, but like because we're different people, the stories are going to be told in different ways, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But enough of that. Let's get into the description. Praise for storytelling that mixes sexy, savvy, and steamy. New York Times bestselling author Eric Jerome Dickey turns up the heat in this explosive novel about the reckless desires that blind an irresistible woman to a desperate man. His name is Driver, an ex-con working for a limousine service. It's a bid to go legit, but one of the real incentives is an old flame, the boss's irresistible wife. Her name is Lisa. She wants more out of life too. She expects Driver to give it to her. Unfortunately, she's counting on the wrong man to kill her husband. Sharing an expensive secret and a past with someone like Lisa is nothing but trouble. What Driver has planned to help him stay alive is more than a scheme. It's a bona fide crime. Sometimes love can make you do crazy things, and that is so true. Love will make people do crazy things. I wouldn't know nothing about that because I've never done anything crazy for love. I've been a little dumb before, though. I think we all have. I've definitely been a little dumb, a little nonchalant. Like, I know that this something is happening, but like, I don't care because I want to be with him. Y'all know how it is, but that was me when I was younger. Now, I ain't got time for that. But yeah, let's move on to book number 6. Well, it's number 6, but it's a series, and it's 2 books in the series, so I'm gonna talk about both of them. Books number 6 is Cranes in the Sky and Postcards from the Edge by Keisha Irvin. It is a series of the characters Messiah and Shaheem. All her life, Messiah's faced nothing but hardship, trials, and tribulation. She's tried to work, pray, sex, sleep, and smoke her problems away, but she can't escape the gloomy gray clouds hovering over her head. Just wanting to be happy, she's blinded by love. Messiah only sees what she wants to see, always building up to be let down and ultimately crashing. She craves love and admiration, but doesn't love herself enough to know when it's time to let go of an old flame. Directionless, she coasts along through life numb until she meets Shaheem, the man who will change her life forever. And he does. He's everything she never knew she wanted, but everything that she absolutely needed. Without permission, Shaheem marches into her life and turns everything upside down. He's rude, cocky, angry, devastatingly handsome. To the world, he's nothing but an ex-convict with a chip on his shoulder. But to Messiah, he's an angel sent down from heaven who teaches her how to love again. When Messiah finds herself wasting time daydreaming about when she'll see or speak to him again, she knows she's in trouble. Love wasn't in the question for her, especially since she still has feelings for her ex. And Shaheem has a ghetto baby mama, and when I say ghetto, and 2 kids. Will their love prevail, or will self-doubt, self-pity, and a sense of emptiness stop everything before it starts? Listen, this story right here had me really thinking that Shaheem was a real man. Like, I was really daydreaming about this man like he was real. Like, I met him before. Like, we used to date and stuff like that. To the point that I went and read the story again. Like, I couldn't get enough of him. I love Messiah too, but just the way she wrote Shaheem's character, it was so relatable. Like, he was such a hood dude, You know, the typical hood dude that you fall for, like the good girl falls for, because like he's intriguing, you know, he seems exciting, like your life is kind of boring and you're looking for something to spice it up. But in this particular book, Messiah wasn't looking for anything, but he found her. And I just loved his like straightforwardness and his cocky, like I like a arrogant, a cocky dude to an extent. Okay. But initially, like, when I'm attracted to people, it's usually people that are, I guess you could say, jerks or assholes or whatever you want to say, because I'm one. Like, if I'm being real, because I'm the same way, so I'm usually attracted to dudes that are like that. But those situations don't really tend to last a lot of the times. But it's cool, you know, sometimes things are supposed to be just fun. So you will find all of this in Cranes in the Sky. Like I said, she had me really daydreaming about this fictional character, this man that does not exist. So it is a great read. And, you know, after you've read Cranes in the Sky, you definitely will want to read the second novel in that series, which is Postcards from the Edge, and it pretty much is a continuation of Shaheem and Messiah's story. From the moment Messiah laid eyes on Shaheem, she knew he was no good for her. Tall, dark as night with a chip on his shoulder. He was everything she needed to stay away from. Messiah was already headed down a dangerous road to recovery. As the ex-ballerina battled with the death of her parents and son, it was haunting her every move. On paper, they were never meant to be, but neither of their hearts will let the other go. For a month and a half, Messiah and Shaheem were on top of the world. Their love affair impacted their lives in ways neither of them could have imagined, until outside influences eventually tore them apart. Since their relationship was severed, a month has gone by, leaving both Messiah and Shaheem on the edge of insanity. Being away from each other is a struggle neither of them could have imagined. But being together isn't an option either can afford. It's already been determined that they're no good for one another, so why does love keep pulling them back? Time keeps ticking, seasons are about to change, and new obstacles are in place. Will Messiah and Shaheem find their way back to one another for good, or will there be another tragic love story destined for nowhere? And the second book is just as good as the first. There is a lot more drama in the second book, but I think the way that it played out was, I'm going to say unrealistic, but that's what fiction is supposed to be about. It's not about doing things that would happen. You know, you're supposed to like write about things that would happen, but add a little spice to it, you know, to make it good. And that's exactly what she did. Like, these two novels are amazing. They're amazing reads, and I love them. Like I said, I was fantasizing about that man, and he did not exist. And that's all I have to say about those two. Number 7. Good Girls Love Thug series by Siobhan Latrice. Now, I'm not going to read the description for every single book in series. I think there are 5 books, but I will read the description for the first one and kind of like give a brief summary of all of them. So, Good Girl Love Thugs is about 4 young best friends whose lives change dramatically after getting caught up with the extremely sought-after King brothers, Kendrick, Kendrius, and Kendon. The King brothers run the biggest drug operation in Baltimore, Maryland, where money and women are the least of their worries. Follow innocent Nick, crazy Christy, sensitive Morgan, and feisty Jessica as they deal with the thirsty jump-offs, vengeful exes, infidelity, and even some shady family members in hopes of proving good girls can too be with thugs. I will say that this series is a really good read. It definitely goes into detail about Nick and Kendrick is like the main characters of this series or whatever, but they're Nick's friends and Kendrick's brothers and cousin. They also are main characters in the series as well. And it just pretty much goes on their journey. Like, Nick goes from being a virgin, you know, she's fresh out of high school, or she met Kendrick when she was a senior in high school. She was dating this guy that was in college. She went to this like party or whatever to be with her boyfriend, but they ended up breaking up after having sex. Like, I think she found out that he cheated on her or whatever. He had sex with her. She broke up with him because he cheated, and then like Kendrick like saw her, he wanted her, and he took her home. Well, he took her to his house, and you know, they had sex again. And well, she had sex again because she had sex with her ex and then him the next day. And ever since that day, they were together. They were in a relationship, you know, the typical drama and everything that happens. And plus, you know, he was he was a drug kingpin because the business was passed down from his father and his uncle to him. He wasn't the oldest of his brothers, but he was the most mature and the most level-headed to be the new king in the drug game, basically. And like, they just pretty much go through, like I said, a lot of revenge, a lot of things that happen when you are living a street life or whatever. The book is very good. Like, I will say that 5 books, and I know the author said that, you know, the readers really like this. So she wasn't expecting to write 5 books. I think she said she was expecting to do 3, but the readers really liked it, and they kept reaching out to her to finish the series or whatever. So she did, and it was really good. It was. Like I said, Nick and Kendrick were the main characters, but like they kind of shifted perspectives to like the different characters or whatever. I really like that about the book. I really like the point of view she used, and just the way that she did it, the way she formatted it and orchestrated it and stuff like that. But it was pretty good. I think that it's worth reading. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if y'all want me to review all of these books, I will. I won't go into detail in this video because I have a couple of books to talk about. So let's go ahead to the next one. Number 8 is The Someday List by Stacey Hawkins Adam. Rachel Covington has it all: a fabulous home, a handsome and prestigious husband, 2 beautiful children, and a place in the upper crust that's quite comfortable. But her life is not all it's cracked up to be. When her husband goes away on business trip and the kids are sent off to the grandparents for a month, Rachel takes up the challenge of a dying friend to start a list of things to do before she dies. She heads back to Jubilant, Texas to reconnect with her past, her purpose, and herself. But when her ex shows up in town looking very fine and very single, Rachel must confront her feelings she thought she'd long buried. Will she give up everything to recover the past, or will she find a reason to plan for the future? The Someday List is an honest look at what makes us who we are and what can throw us off track. Author Stacey Hawkins Adam writes with a voice that is fresh, sincere, and completely real. Her characters jump off the page and into her readers' hearts. I read this book a long time ago. I can't even, years ago. So I don't remember exactly what happens. And it says that this is a series called Jubilant Soul Series, and there are 3 books in the series. So I'm gonna go back and read that one over again, and then also the other 2 in the series. But from what I can remember, it was pretty good. Like, she reconnected with an ex, and you know, kind of got herself in a little bit of trouble, you know, because you know how it is when people are married and they get bored with their marriages, and they realize how much they've lost themselves and stuff like that, and so they become desperate to find that person again. And sometimes a lot of people go back into their past to do that, and that's what she did. And of course I have to read the other books, so I don't know how it turned out, but at the end of that book, I think she ended up making a decision that was best for her. She put herself first, and when she made her decision, and I feel like that was, you know, a proud moment. I was proud of her for doing it. But let's move on to book number 9. For book 9, it's also a series, so I'm not going to read the description for all, but I will read the description for the first one. And the series pretty much just just continues the story. And this is the Behind Closed Doors series by Monica Walters. She is an author that I recently came across, but I think it was a while ago when I think it probably was like a year or two ago when I read this. I'm going to do a review on this series as well. But let me get into the description. When you're young, that's the time to handle business and have fun while doing it. As far as love goes, you can decide on that later. Ashave Glasper has that figured out too. She knows what she wants out of life in all aspects of it. She's attending the local university for her chosen career path when she discovered that she knows what she wants out of love as well. There is only one problem. He's one of her professors. She does everything but tell him when it comes to her infatuation, making her interest in him known. And does she make it known? Just when she thinks things are progressing the way she wants them to, yet another man crosses her path. She wonders how she can feel something for 2 men at once. Love doesn't have an age as long as she's legal. That's Elijah Coleman's standpoint. After having a tumultuous engagement to a woman that he thought was the one, he's given up on love. That is until Ashave graces his classroom. Although it had been years since his engagement, he'd never had the desire to move on. Ashave does something to him though. Just her aura captures him. Starting a relationship with his student would be against the code of conduct for the university, and that is the only thing that is holding him back. Will that be enough to keep his emotions tamed? Life is hard already, but some circumstances can make it harder. After getting a medical discharge from the military, Omari Rich Watson decides to go to school to make something more of his life. He has a daughter to take care of and help raise. After he's left reeling from the death of his mother, his life seems to be at a standstill, and he shuts everyone off for his love, including the mother of his daughter. The only one that can reach his heart is his little angel until he notices Ashave. A chance encounter at school gives him an opportunity to shoot his shot, and he has no intentions of missing, and he definitely don't miss. So many decisions to be made. This triangle is going to leave someone hurt, but who will it be, or will all of them lose? And this particular series is definitely a page turner. Ashave and Ridge, and then Ashave and Professor what's Coleman. Like Ashave was player low key. She was a player low key, and I liked it. I liked that she just did what she wanted to do. Whatever it is that she was feeling, she acted on it. And I like that about her because that's how I am as a person. Like, I don't really care about the consequences. I can be reckless sometimes, and so I connected with Ashave when it came to that. And the story was aside from the drama, it was a beautiful story. Like, I really liked it. I like how it turned out. I think it's worth the read. And like, when I say it was drama. Like, Ashave gave Rich and Professor Coleman, I think his name is Dr. Coleman as well, a run for their money. They were not expecting that from a girl like her. Like, they thought she was a typical, not typical. They thought she was innocent and, different and stuff. And she was. But she gave them a run for their money. And I enjoyed reading every bit of it. And like I said, I will do a detailed review on this book at a later date. But now let's move on to book 10. Okay, yeah, we're at book 10. Last but not least, I have Undeniable by Raymond Francis. This is also a series. It's a 2-book series. Undeniable focus on the story of Amara, a young real estate agent residing in Charlotte, North Carolina. Amara is Afrocentric, socially woke, and in touch with the issues that face our country today. Unconcerned with the material trappings of the world, Amara is more focused on her deep spiritual quest to find peace, happiness, and true love. That love is right beneath Amara's nose in the form of her best friend of the past 10 years, Drake. Drake is a complex man with a complicated life, but he has always had a soft spot reserved in his heart for Amara. He is wise beyond his years due to the fact that he was forced to grow up quickly and become the man of the house at a very young age. When Amara sells a house under suspicious circumstances, Drake informs her that it may be connected to some illegal activity. As Amara investigates the residents of the house, she concludes that something isn't right. From there, Amara stumbles into a world that she has no idea even existed. Undeniable used modern-day issues such as police brutality, activism, and drug use to weave together an epic love story. As the events play out, Amara and Drake are forced to make decisions that they never thought they would have to, but these decisions will ultimately shape their pride, purpose, and destiny. These books in the Undeniable series are really good books, and I love how at the end the author kind of like gave us some insight of what the characters thought about the story and how things played out. I thought that was different, it was unique, and I really loved it. But this story is a story about a girl who is focused on her career and stuff like that, and love comes up in the conversation, and she ends up realizing that she is in love with her best friend Drake. And they go through their little thing, their relationship evolving into something more, and her being there for him being there for her, through things that they've had to deal with. She also has some drama with her, one of her female best friends and her father, because they end up getting together some type of way or whatever, so she has to deal with that as well. I think her mother died when she was young or something like that, so she was raised by her father. She was very I guess you could say bougie. She was raised, y'all know what I'm trying to say. She wasn't hood like Drake was, so like she had this kind of like idea of who he was and his lifestyle and how things worked. She didn't really understand it until she started to have romantic feelings for him, and like he started bringing her more into her his world or whatever, and trying to get her to understand why he does the things that he does, and things like that. And at the end of the day, they end up their relationship ends up evolving, and it's great to see kind of how everything happens. But that's all because I only chose 10 of my all-time favorite romance novels. I went off the ones that I could remember, the ones that kind of made an impact on me, the ones that that I could remember without having to like check my Kindle list or whatever. I went with those. They aren't in a particular order, and there may even be a book or a series that I like more than the ones that I named, but these are the ones that I came up with. There are definitely going to be more lists of my favorite books and things like that. And like I said, I'm going to reread all of these books so I can give you guys a review on them. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm burping so much. Excuse me. But thanks for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Tell me what your all-time favorite romance novels are and the authors, so I can check them out. And I'll leave information in the description about these books so y'all can check them out. But like I said, thank you for watching my video. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Before you go, Check out my website at srgram.org. Scroll to the very bottom of the webpage to subscribe to my mailing list to get news and updates from me. Also, check out my latest novel, Drown the Lovers. It is book 3 in the Two Monogamous series. You can purchase it from Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Thank you.